Do you have a Dropbox account? Most of us do, and the reasons might vary, but essentially what we want is our important files to be stored in a safe place, so that in case we even lose our device or we want to work on multiple devices, we are always uh, ready with Dropbox accounts. Similarly for Google Drive, or I think Google Photos also started backing up our photos, and I find that a great feature because my cell phone really usually does not have enough space for too many photos. But when we think of code, um, these applications are really not too suitable for code changes, for seeing how a person has been developing a particular project or a particular program. So the application in this case is GitHub. In case you haven't heard of it, GitHub is a workflow management tool. Essentially, what it does is in large organizations, when you want many people to be um, aware of the updates that are happening in a single code base, you use GitHub, and people can have a look at the changes being made by everybody. But when it comes to competitive programming, GitHub has many more features than what is probably required for competitive programming. The specific feature that we want to see is Git differences. What does Git difference do? Let's say I have this file, and I find that there needs to be a few more additions of code in this file. Um, int j equal to 0, j equal to 3, j plus plus, and finally print out j. Assume that this part of code is now pretty critical to the correctness of this program. You're seeing that there's a difference between the old code and the new code. Let's make a commit on Git. This is one of the features which I don't really enjoy. We have to give a Git message on every commit. What's happening here is that we are telling the application that we are making a substantial change, and we want a record of this change to be kept. So we'll have a look at how this helps. Let's say int variable. Then we make a commit. Do not commit and push, especially in competitions. If you commit and push and your repository is public, you're going to be in big trouble because everyone can read that. Just make a local commit, simple commit. And now that you're done, you can actually view your Git history. In a programming competition, often we make changes. They're either small or large, doesn't really matter. What we want to be able to do is look at these changes and see how they're affecting our program correctness or our program speed. Uh, it's happened to me often that I have introduced a few variables or made a few changes in the limits that I have put in a for loop, and suddenly my program complexity just explodes. It's very difficult to see that the j is incrementing instead of decrementing, or maybe have forgotten to multiply by 2 or divide by 2. So it's really useful in complicated scenarios of what was the small change that I just made, and rather than going into the competition, picking up your solution and taking a difference online, it's much easier to make a very small commit message. A is enough for a commit message. So stuff like that, and then see your Git history to figure out exactly how the code changed. To be frank, in short competitions, Git commits are useful, but making structured commits or structured changes to code is not really what we are looking to do. But there are long competitions. I think CodeChef has a few long competitions. There's Kaggle, which has long competitions. Topcoder also, of course. Development challenges are quite long. In these competitions, especially if you have a human judge on the other side, you want to show them the thought process and the consistency you had, also the way you solve problems. So it's really good to have your Git history uh, pan out, and the person seeing what kind and how did you solve problems. So in terms of programming competitions, of course, Git differences is the only feature you need to see in Git. But I would suggest that you actually try Git out and try it on some of your maybe college project competitions, or uh, Kaggle has a few good competitions to participate in. And once you have used it, you'll see the amount of difference in terms of time uh, that you require when making a project. If you have 3 or 4 friends, I have been on both sides. I have been on the side where we email each other our project code, and the manual task of actually reading every line of code and figuring out, oh, there's a difference here, oh, there's a difference over here too, and adding that or removing that is such a pain. But I have been on that side, and uh, there were two similar projects that we needed to develop. The first one took 6 months. The second one took around 25 days. So, of course, we got better at doing the projects too. But uh, you know, pom.xml and GitHub are some of the things that really took away most of the management headache that we had while coding solutions. So that's it for GitHub integration. I hope you found it quite useful. In the next lecture, we'll be talking on testing through multiple solvers. So I'll see you there.